I'll never forget the day my wife told me she was leaving. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over our small apartment, but I felt a chill run down my spine. She took my hand, her eyes filled with a deep sadness, and began to speak in a voice that was barely above a whisper. "My dear husband," she said, "I want you to promise me something. Promise me you'll take care of our daughter, Ada. Make sure she knows how much I loved her, and how much I wanted to be there for her." I felt a lump form in my throat as I nodded, trying to process what she was telling me. But before I could respond, she continued. "I want you to know the truth about my family," she said, her voice cracking with emotion. "The pain they've carried for so long, it's not just their pain. It's ours too." I was confused, but I listened as she began to tell me a story about her family's past. A story of cruelty, of abuse, and of generational trauma. "My grandparents were slaves," she said, her eyes welling up with tears. "They were treated like animals, forced to work long hours in brutal conditions. Their humanity was stripped away, and they were left with nothing but scars." As she spoke, I felt a weight settle in my chest. I had heard stories about the struggles of our ancestors, but to hear it from my wife's lips, to see the pain in her eyes, it was almost too much to bear. "But that's not the worst part," she continued, her voice trembling. "The worst part is how their pain was passed down to their children, and their children's children. My mother was taught to hate herself, to believe that she was worthless. And she passed that hatred on to me." I felt a surge of anger and sadness as I realized the depth of the pain that my wife had carried with her. I wanted to hold her, to comfort her, but she wasn't finished. "Our daughter, Ada, she's going to face challenges because of what our family has been through," she said, her voice filled with a deep concern. "But I want you to promise me that you'll be there for her. That you'll help her heal, that you'll help her break the cycle of pain." I nodded, tears streaming down my face as I promised her that I would do everything in my power to help our daughter. And as I held her close, I felt her body relax, as if she had finally found some peace. But even as I held her, I knew that our journey was far from over. The pain of our family's past would not disappear overnight, and it would take time, effort, and love to break the cycle of trauma. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, my wife's health began to decline. We knew that her time was limited, and we cherished every moment we had together. One day, as we sat on the couch, holding hands, and watching the sunset, she turned to me and said, "I'm ready. I'm ready to go." I held her close, tears streaming down my face, as I whispered, "I'll take care of Ada. I'll help her heal. I promise." She smiled, a faint smile, and closed her eyes. And in that moment, I knew that I would do everything in my power to keep my promise. Years later, asterisk. It's been years since my wife left us. But the pain of our loss still lingers, a constant reminder of the fragility of life. Ada is growing up, and she's beginning to ask questions about her mother's family. She's curious about the stories, about the pain, and about the struggles. As I look at her, I see her brother's smile, her mother's eyes. And I know that I have to tell her the truth. I have to tell her about the cruelty, about the abuse, and about the generational trauma. But it's hard. It's hard to relieve the pain, to confront the darkness of our past. It's hard to explain to a child why her ancestors were treated like animals, why they were forced to suffer. As I sit down to write this story, I'm filled with a mix of emotions. I'm sad, I'm angry, but I'm also hopeful. I'm hopeful that by sharing our story, we can begin to heal. I'm hopeful that Ada will learn from our experiences, that she'll find a way to break the cycle of pain. And as I write these words, I'm reminded of the power of love and forgiveness. I'm reminded that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. Hope for a better future, hope for healing, and hope for redemption. I know that our journey will not be easy. There will be challenges, there will be setbacks. But I also know that with love, with support, and with the truth, we can overcome anything. We can break the cycle of pain, and we can find peace. As I look at Ada, I know that she will be okay. She'll be more than okay. She'll thrive, she'll heal, and she'll find her own way in this world. And I'll be here, every step of the way, to support her, to guide her, and to love her with all my heart. The story of my wife's family is one of pain, but it's also one of resilience. It's a story of how even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. And I know that as long as we hold on to that hope, we can overcome anything. As I finish writing this story, I feel a sense of peace wash over me. I know that I've done what my wife asked of me. I've told our daughter the truth about her family's past. And I know that she'll carry it with her, that she'll use it to heal and to find her own way in this world. And as I look at Ada, I know that she'll be okay. She'll be more than okay. She'll thrive, and she'll find her own happiness. And I'll be here, every step of the way, to support her, to guide her, and to love her with all my heart. The cycle of pain can be broken, and I know that our story will be one of healing and redemption. Our daughter will grow up knowing the truth about her family's past, but she'll also know that she has the power to break the cycle of pain. She'll know that she has the power to heal, to love, and to live a life filled with purpose and meaning. And as I look at Ada, I know that our story is far from over. In fact, it's just beginning. But I know that with love, with support, and with the truth, we'll face whatever comes next together. We'll face it with hope, with courage, and with the knowledge that we can overcome anything as long as we have each other.